Hey guys, this is Matt again in the Surf Garage. Um, Wanted to have a quick chat with you guys about different materials I use when I fix surfboards. On my left here I have two-part epoxy, and on my right I have sanding resin catalyst. And I tend to mix things in these. Um, this is like a paper container I get like at the soup counter. I'll grab a few extras whenever I'm at the market. These are just coffee mixing sticks, and these are syringes I tend to use for mixing epoxy. Um, some people use digital scales, but yeah, I prefer the syringe. I don't know what it is about it. It has never let me down, and I don't own a digital scale, so yeah, the syringe is fine for mixing this stuff. Um, so you notice I don't have any laminating resin. I don't really use that very much for fixing boards, um, mainly because laminating resin isn't easy to sand. It's really sticky and it gums up your sandpaper, and it's not meant to be sanded. It's meant to hold the board together and be strong. So for repairs, I only use sanding resin because there's a good deal of sanding involved when it comes to fixing boards, feathering in patches and making it look clean, which I can't really do with laminating resin. I also should mention the fiberglass I use. This is 4-ounce cloth. I only use 4-ounce cloth. It's pretty thin cloth. It feathers into the board really nice. It's hard to feather anything else that's thicker into the board. If I need it to be like a stronger cloth, I'll just double it up. So like it'll probably be like closer to 6-ounce when I put 2 layers of this over, because I'm gonna, I do sand a little bit over it and it takes it down a bit. And you don't want to use sanding resin on your epoxy boards. It'll burn a hole right through it. Epoxy you can use on anything. Like if this board delammed, I love using this stuff to push down delam on both epoxy and poly boards, especially these classic boards. You can pop like a pinhole in it and shoot this stuff in it. It holds really good, and it's really light, and it doesn't shatter. It conforms to like your heel wells, where this stuff might shatter. And there's also gloss resin, which I don't use either. Going back to this stuff, gloss resin's more like for finishing. It's comes out really shiny and it's very soft. I don't really use that much for repairs. I just stick to sanding resin. In addition, like most of the boards that already come to me are pretty hammered. There's no point of glossing them. I'll just sand them really fine and polish them instead of glossing them. So when it comes to mixing, you can be pretty lax about mixing sanding resin and catalyst. Like I'm just mixing like just a tiny bit amount for most repairs in here, and 10 drops of catalyst is kind of my baseline. If it's colder out, I'll add like 3 or 4 extra drops, and if it's really hot, maybe I'll do like 2 less. And it depends how fast you think you can work too. What you don't want to do is over catalyzed resin, because it can start smoking, it'll turn yellow and it'll be really brittle. So you want to catalyze it just right. Just 10 drops out here is perfectly fine for most small repairs I'm doing. This, on the other hand, two-part epoxy needs to be mixed just right, and that's how I use the syringes, is to, let's say I'll start with part A. I'll fill it up like this, holding it like this, and I'll pour it in the top to, like, let's say 10. I'll shoot it into the cup, and then I'll pull the plunger out and I'll pour part B into here. It's like the 5 line, shoot it in the cup, mix it up. Try to get it pretty spot on. With this stuff, it takes a very long time to dry. You gotta be very patient. Probably takes like close to 12 hours before you can even think about sanding it. And you gotta mix it really exact too. You add extra hardener to this stuff, it'll never go off. It's 2-to-1 ratio. Any more, any less, it'll never dry. And what else could I say? This stuff dries pretty fast. It'll start gelling, and you can clean it up with a razor blade within probably like 10 minutes. And then I give it another extra good couple hours to like dry before I can sand it. You don't want to sand it when it's jelly. In general, I'm just really patient with letting my repairs dry all the way through. Most things I just leave overnight, and I know when I come to it in the morning, it'll be totally dried out and ready to go. A good way to tell if it's dry is you'll see like these strands of cloth that were saturated in the resin, and these strands, when the material is dry, will be like needles. Like if you grab the board wrong where it's patched, you can get stuck really bad. So be careful when you're handling the board, like where you grab it. Yeah, I've been stuck a few times in the fingers. It hurts pulling a big fiberglass splinter out of your finger, but that's how you know it's dry. So yeah, and this stuff doesn't give off any fumes, whereas this stuff does. I do it in an open garage. I'll wear a respirator sometimes, but I'm mixing such little amounts that the fumes don't really get to me. Just tiny amounts. And yeah, if you have any questions about the materials I use, hit me up in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.